Guys, so I'm back with you today with a pretty big book haul. I know some people are funny about book hauls because they think it's wasting money and that people don't ever actually read the books when they show a massive haul, but I've saved these books up for about a month now before showing you so that I didn't inundate you with hauls, and the majority of these books are from charity shops or sales, so I haven't actually spent a lot of money at all. Yeah, I hope that means less of you are mad at me. So first I will start with a book that I got from a charity shop. It was from the British Heart Foundation, I believe. It is called Rivals in the Tudor Court by Darcy Bonnet. I bought this purely because I absolutely love the Tudor Court. I doubt it's particularly historically accurate, but I love historical fiction. I read it for fun, and it's nice to read a little bit of history sometimes that's just sort of easy and leisurely, because I study history at uni and it's not always easy and leisurely, so I bought that one. I think it was 90p. This one I also got from a charity shop and it was £2, and it is Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick. I've heard amazing things about this book. Unfortunately I did watch the film first because I was unaware it was a book when I watched the film. I've started reading it, I'm about 30 pages in and I already love it, so I'm sure this will be a great read. We have The Colour Purple by Alice Walker. Again, this is a classic that I've heard amazing things about and I've just never got around to reading it, so I found it in a charity shop for £2 like it says there, and I snapped it up even though it is battered. But one thing I will mention is that a lot of these books are battered, a lot of the spines are broken. They're from charity shops. Other people have read them and loved them and donated them, and that's kind of what I love about books from charity shop. Then we have The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of the Window and Disappeared by Jonas Jonasson. First of all, what an incredible name, Jonas Jonasson. This book is about a man in an old people's home who goes missing, and I thought it sounded really interesting. It sounded quite funny, sounded like a bit of an adventure, and I think it was 90p. It was 90p, so I thought, why not? These next few books are really random ones, which again I picked up just to read for pleasure because they were a bit different and I'd never heard of them before. And they are large print books, so if you look inside, the print is absolutely huge. So they are for people who struggle with their eyesight. I'm actually short-sighted, not long-sighted, so I struggle with things that are far away. But these were only £1 each, so I just picked them up anyway, and then I figured I could pass them on to my grandparents if they wanted them. But anyway, this one's called Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I have heard of this book before, but you know, I never thought to pick it up. But I want to read some more like suspense thriller type books, so that's why I picked this one up. And it was in the Works huge summer sale for £1. Again, this is a large print one that was in the Works summer sale for £1, and it is Catch Your Death by Louise Voss and somebody whose name is covered up, so I can't tell you. But this one is again some sort of mystery thriller, I think. About a research unit that was trying to find a cure for the common cold, and apparently like seriously dodgy things went on there, so I thought it sounded really interesting, and yeah, I picked this. In a large print edition we have Little Bones by Janet Jenkins. This is historical fiction. It's set in London in 1899, and I think again it's like a thriller about a dodgy doctor. Yeah, sounded really interesting, and I actually quite like that it's large print because it'll make me feel more accomplished when I read them really quick. But again, that was the main reason that I picked up some of these large print books in the first place, was that when I went into the Works I saw When God Was a Rabbit by Sarah Winman. I have wanted to read this book for so long. It was on my Amazon wishlist, and obviously when I went into the Works all of the books seemed quite obscure, like things I hadn't heard of before. And then I found this one and I thought, oh well, if they have this one, maybe they have you know, other decent books, and I found the rest of the thrillers that I want to read. But this one, I don't really know what it's about, but I've heard so many good things about it, and yeah, cannot wait to read it. It's probably next on my TBR. Back to the charity shops now, and I have Captain Corelli's Mandolin Captain Corelli's Mandolin by Louis de Bernier, and this is a classic. Everyone's read it. I feel like I'm the only one that hasn't read it. Very excited about this, and it was £2. Then we have one that you've already seen because it was in my July TBR, but this was from a charity shop too for 90p, and it's The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This is on my TBR. I've tried to read it like 3 times now, and I just cannot get into it. So I'm reading The Catcher in the Rye and Silver Linings Playbook, and then maybe I'll try and read this again alongside something easier like When God Was a Rabbit. But I'm really struggling with this one, and it makes me sad because everyone says how amazing it is, and I'm sure it is once you get into it. I'm sure it's absolutely incredible, but I just can't get into it. Next we have a book that I was super excited to find in a charity shop yesterday with my boyfriend, and it was £2, and it's The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Again, this is historical fiction. It's about the building of a cathedral, and all of the drama in the court and like the monarchy's court, and everything that goes along with it. And it's a very long book. It's over 1,000 pages long, but my housemate from university who I lived with in my first and second year, he read this book and he thought I would really enjoy it, and in our first year of university he said I should read it, and I said I would, and then never got round to it. I never even picked it up. So when I saw it in the charity shop for £2, I was like, now is the time. Pick it up, you'll read it eventually. Then also from the same charity shop for £2 we have Labyrinth by Kate Moss. I've seen this book everywhere. I think it has a sequel as well. I'm not sure if it's part of a series. I think it is, but it sounded interesting. Again, it's like a historical fiction-y, fantasy type of thing. I love that sort of thing. Again, it's massive, so I'm not sure when I'll have time to read it because I have a lot of university reading I should be doing, but it was £2, and I'm quite bad when I go into charity shops because of the price. I just pick up everything, but I figured, you know, I'm donating money to charity and giving a book a loving home, so yeah. Next, from the same charity shop again for £2, we have Life of Pi by Jan Martel. I read this when I was in year 10 at school. My English teacher gave it to me and told me to read it. I remember really enjoying it, and then I lost my copy somehow, so when I saw this in there I thought I would pick it up again, so that I have a copy of it, and eventually I will get around to reading it again. Next we have a really battered copy of A Dance with Dragons Part 2 After the Feast by George R.R. Martin. I picked this up because it was 25p at the church fair, and the reason I picked it up is because I thought I had already read the whole of Part 1 on my Kindle, and I love my Kindle, but I do prefer to have paper copies of the books, and eventually I wanted to build up a collection of the Game of Thrones series, well, Song of Ice and Fire series, without like having to spend £60 on the whole box set. So I picked this up thinking, oh, you know, 25p, excellent. Already read the first half, so I can pick this up and start reading it. I was wrong. I haven't finished reading the whole first half actually, and I've completely spoilt myself on 2 major things that happen, because not only did I make the mistake of reading the back of the book, I also flicked it open to see if I could find the place where I was, and spoilt myself majorly, and I actually threw a tantrum, threw the book across the room, and maybe even got a tear in my eye. I'm really not okay. Next we have a copy of The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. Again, this is 25p. I've already read this book twice and I absolutely love it, but didn't have a paper copy of it, so I picked it up because the books were 4 for £1 and I needed a 4th book. So I got this. Again, this is one I think you've already seen because I may have shown it in my June wrap-up, but it's The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. Absolutely adored this, loved how it was written, loved everything. This was 90p from a charity shop. Yeah, definitely would recommend this book, I loved it. Then we have a copy of Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I can't remember where I picked this one up, but it may have been the Church Fete. Yeah, it was at the Church Fete, so it was 25p. It's not the prettiest edition of Mansfield Park. There are a lot of nice editions of classics that I'm hoping to collect eventually, but I haven't read all of Mansfield Park, so I thought for 25p I'd pick this one up, and the spine looks nice. It's fine. Along a similar vein, we have Persuasion by Jane Austen, and it's quite a cute edition of it. Again, eventually I would like to pick up nice editions of all my classics, but for now this is fine. It was 90p and I actually really liked the spine and I thought the cover was cute, so why not? Again, on a similar line, we have this hardback copy of Persuasion, which I found in a charity shop for 50p. But again, it's a nice hardback edition. It has Mr. Darcy on the front, or I'm assuming that's supposed to be Mr. Darcy anyway. I've read Pride and Prejudice lots of times, but like many of my books, I didn't have it in a hard copy, so I got this one. Probably my favourite book in this whole entire haul is this copy of Middlemarch by George Eliot. Can we just take a second to appreciate how beautiful this book is? I love the Penguin clothbound classics, but they're just out of my price range. I buy all of my books now in charity shops or at fairs or on Amazon if I'm desperate, because I cannot afford to pay bookshop prices, and that's really sad. And I know there's a lot of hoo-ha going on about Amazon, but I'm a student, I don't have much money, well, I don't really have any money, and I cannot afford to pay bookshop prices. So as much as I love these books, I have never been able to pick one up before because they're just too expensive for me, and even on Amazon they range between £10 and £20, and that's just too much for me to pay for one book. So somebody told me that they sold them in TK Maxx, so I trotted off to TK Maxx hoping to find some, and there were none there, and I was really disappointed. And as I turned the corner on the sale rack, I found this one just sat there by itself, and I have never read Middlemarch, so that made me even more excited because I thought, yes, not only do I have a clothbound classic finally, it's one that I haven't read before. And I was nervous about the price, and I picked it up and turned it over, and it was £3. £3, like £3 for this beautiful book. And I was so excited, I bought it without even thinking, and apparently they do get them in quite often, but because they're so popular they just sell straight away, and this was the last one of their last batch, which was why it was so heavily reduced. But I asked how much they normally sell them for, and it's £7.99, which is half the price that most bookshops are selling them for. Okay, my camera died, but I'm now back with The Diviners by Libba Bray. There's kind of a weird story behind getting this book. I saw this book in so many people's videos, but I've never actually seen it like in a bookshop here. I'm sure it must be here, but I've never seen it before, and I wanted it so bad, but I couldn't justify paying for it when, you know, there were a lot of other books I wanted to read. I have a lot of books that I wanted to read, and yeah, so I didn't get it. I really wanted it. I always kept an eye out for it in charity shops, and then when I went to the fair on Saturday, the first box I looked in, this was in, and it was 25p, and I couldn't believe it. I was so excited to find it. It is the hardcover copy, but it doesn't have its dust jacket anymore. I really don't mind that at all. I was just so thrilled to find it. And it was really weird to find it because nobody has ever really spoken about it before, like, in England. Really excited to find this book. I'm hoping to read it soon. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but to be honest, I'm just really happy that I finally have it. And yeah, 25p, and that was the last book in my huge book haul. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have read any of the books that I have bought recently and want to recommend me any more, let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!